All right, so we're here, guys. I'm Jason Holcomb. I'm joined by Ben Smith down here, and I've got Corey over here, and we got a loud bird somewhere. This is a very special series that we're going to be starting. This is Irish from 3. It's something that we plan to do not just during this lockdown, but also afterward to catch up with some of our former Irish players and see how well they're doing across the different platforms. And we couldn't think of a better person to start off with than our own JaCori Payne. Corey, welcome you to the show. I see you're doing well out in the country.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm back home, back in Dublin.
All right. Now, Ben and I, we're going to be a poor man's Jalen and JaCori. So just going to put that out there. It's funny because we watch all these shows at my house, and my wife, it's funny because she thinks Stephen A. is hilarious, and Jalen and JaCori's like her favorite show. So I just find it funny because she didn't play basketball. She wasn't really into sports, but she's like, Jalen just seems down to earth, and the JaCori guy's just funny. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad. That means I get to watch it.
Whatever works, man. Whatever works.
Well, Corey, first off, glad to see that you're home and that you're doing well and that you're safe. So excited for that. We hate that the circumstances are what they are, but we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about your time with the Irish, and then we'll move on to talking about your time with Columbus State. I see you repping today.
Yeah.
Glad to see that. And I told Ben I made sure to dress right before you got to dress right when you come to the show,
That's right. That's right. You look official. Represent.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's my uniform. It's my Rona uniform for right now. It's either that or my state championship shirt. That's what I wear pretty much every day. But Corey, talk about for a second. I didn't get the pleasure of getting to watch you play much because by the time you came, I had stepped away from sports. I got to watch Ben play just about every single game, but from 04 to 06. Talk about your time with Dublin and how did that time sort of lead in and prepare you mentally and physically for some of the challenges that you face moving forward?
The time was amazing. Coming in, I had a different coach, Coach Latham at first. So it was kind of a struggle just getting the rotation. But once Coach Paul came in, the new system came in, and we just ran with it. It was fun. I kind of grew into my sophomore year and my junior year. Then it just kept going up. So we was putting in the hours early in the morning, and it was just fun, man. Just to play like in front of my friends and everything. It was just fun.
Now, you said your sophomore year. I remember your sophomore year, you were part of the rotation. That's Trey's senior year, right?
Yeah, correct.
And then your junior year, you jumped into like more of the alpha
male.
Guy, yeah. So what was that like from going from, we playing basketball, it's always different and changing roles, from going from like one of the guys to filling in to, all right, next year, this is my show. And did you do anything in that offseason different from the offseason before?
Definitely, I had to take a different approach. I knew I had to get stronger. I just started watching more film and just like really becoming a student of the game, just because I knew the step I had to take to be successful as the head guy on the team.
Gotcha.
Now, I have to tell you, some of the film that I watched of you blew my mind because you evolved into what I would consider a hybrid player. When I'm looking at Dublin players, you always got to compare yourself to other Dublin players. Whenever I was coming along, Jermaine Hall was the stud, and he's probably still on my Mount Rushmore because he was the trendsetter. He set the stage for so many of y'all, both from a high school and AAU perspective all the way through professionally. And I think before him, I don't think people were really even thinking about somebody from Dublin getting to go, even thinking about playing upper college basketball, let alone playing professionally, wherever it was. Because, he was literally like 2-3 inches shy of the league. I mean, that's what people don't realize. His skill set, he could play in the league. It was they couldn't pick him in, just like with Ben. They have this this form that they want you to fit in. If you don't fit in the form, they don't want you in. You know what I mean? And that's it's unfortunate, but watching you reminded me so much of a mix of players. There was parts of Cam, Pulley Paul, that where you would get aggressive, and then there's also that spot with Ben where I saw little bits of Ben come out in your skill. And from what I understand, y'all have been close for a long time. I'm gonna let y'all kind of talk about that relationship. How did that relationship begin, and how did that help you as you grew into your place as a basketball player?
You want me to go first, Ben?
Go ahead, see. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, basically, there's a gym nearby my house called Oconee Gym where I just kind of like spent a lot of my time coming up. And, you know, Ben was kind of one of the, like you said, Mount Rushmore's guy. So growing up, I watched him, and I was at the championship game in '06, and I just always admired him. So it was cool to have somebody like him to show me how to be professional from an early age, which gave me a head start on the guys around me, and I just ran with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. It was like we just grew up in the same gym. Of course, I was older, but I come to the gym and I was driving in. Even before I was Corey, I've been in a long time. Maybe before I was driving, but go to the gym, my dad. I'm usually the first one in there, and either before we even start working out together, he was like the first like young kid in there. So we just always had that relationship. He was really small back then. I always had a soft touch. I always could shoot. And then he just started growing, and then we just naturally, before it became like, it's kind of like, we kind of like brothers in the instinct now. It was just more of just being around each other. Oh, they look like he said, he came to our game. I'm like, oh, he gonna be good when he get older, you know, that type of thing. And then from there, once he grew up and he wanted to like really get serious in playing basketball and get to his level where he at now, it became more serious, and we started training together and, you know, studying film together. And now we just like, he was in my wedding, you know, now we just good friends.
That's awesome.
More than anything. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what tickles me. By the way, I'm glad you had a soft touch, because Oconee Gym is not forgiven with those rims. They never have been. They're made of that old metal from back in the day. You know, like that stuff was hammered out like back in the Old Testament times. Like if you don't get it right in the middle, it's coming out. Like there's no.
All next.
Yeah. See, I balled at Oconee way back in the day, like back when Ben was a little boy. Like I'm talking about. This had been 94, 95, 96 back in there. And I remember playing in Saturday mornings. Rec ball you play Saturday mornings at Oconee, and you play weeknight games at Stubbs. And when you play those Oconee games, there was a different energy among everybody, because if you showed out there, it traveled. Like if you balled out at Oconee, then you had respect, like period. And
right.
And I'll never forget, I had a friend of mine, he wanted to fight me afterward. I ain't going to name his name. I ain't going to drop it like that. But I got a steal right at the free throw line, and he was just on the other side of half court. And he tried to swipe, and I did some kind of, I don't know, move. I don't know what you want to call it. I got past him, and then he come back behind me. I laid it up over him. And I looked at him, I said, you know, you ain't got nothing on that. Well, he was mad. And thing was, he ran with some pretty hard guys. And so he starts throwing out some words at me. And thankfully, Mr. Roscoe Brow, rest in peace, he heard those words and kind of pulled him to the side and was like, no, that ain't happening today. And but now we're cool. You know, we're friends on Facebook, and we still speak when we see each other. But like that game, I had like 20 points. And from then on, you know, I was Larry Bird. You know, that's all people know. You know, when you got somebody like me, it's like he got a 15-foot jumper. That's Larry Bird, man. That's Larry Bird. Or Big Country. They go back to Big Country. While I'm thinking about that, I think it'd be a good time. We're talking about y'all's relationship. I'd like to go ahead and show out some of this relationship. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Yep, there it is. Oh, all right. Just wait. It's finna get good. If I can get it to pull up. This is all that technology. Y'all please bear with us. All right, here we go. Get ready. Y'all see it yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You recognize?
Yeah, that wasn't too long ago. I mean, or
Yep.
maybe it was. I mean, a few years ago.
Maybe like 3, 2.
Yeah, something like that.
I figure
Yeah,
if we're going to talk about the gym, that you got to put it out there.
yeah, this like every morning though. That's like the thing. This was same routine every morning. Get up, be there at 8, work out 1 or 2 hours, come back, play at 4 or 5, go lift after that. So this was like Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
Or Friday actually.
Now, Corey, how did that help you getting to have somebody, you know, like Ben that played D1 basketball, playing overseas, working with you like that?
It showed me a lot. It showed me how to actually break down my game and attack my weaknesses in the off season. So, like I said, it gave me a head start over my peers. Man, it's just like it was tremendous.
Well, I had to throw that out there. I knew y'all would like it. That's the beauty of YouTube. As soon as I found out we were going to get this rolling, I went YouTube snooping. I'm like, let me JaCori Payne, Corey Payne, Ben Smith, Smooth Smith. You know, just doing all them searches, and I found some stuff. We got some more that we'll put out in a little while. But let's go ahead and transition to your college. Getting to go to Columbus State. One of the things that I will say about Dublin players is Dublin players, outside of maybe a couple, have been underrated in my opinion. We've got some ballers that have come through, not just on our title teams, but, you know, just as an example, we just had somebody sign with Wichita State the other day that come through our program. And, you know, when you start thinking about these kids that are getting to play, like Ben, you know, Ben went to Jacksonville, which when he got there, he kind of helped make a name, in my opinion, for Jacksonville. No different than when Jermaine went up to New York and started playing up there in the Northeastern Conference with Wagner. You know, everywhere that we've had Dublin players go, they make an impact. So when you got the opportunity to go to Columbus State, what were you hoping to prove?
Just proving that I belong and that I can like actually be a known face in the conference.
And to piggyback off that, I think it's something I want you to put out there, right? I remember your freshman year. I mean, you come off your senior year with what you probably averaged like 28, 27, 30, somewhere around there. Anyway, I know it was crazy, close to 50-point games. Then you get there, so automatically a lot of kids, I say, they think, okay, I did that in high school. I'm gonna walk in as a freshman and just kill as soon as I get there. But as soon as you get there, I don't care what level you at. You notice everybody is good, you know. So even if they don't have your numbers, they still can play. So I want you to like kind of talk about like your freshman year and then the jump to your sophomore year, because I know you went from not playing that much to being in the rotation your sophomore year. Well, starting your sophomore year, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So coming in as a freshman, I kind of, I was smelling myself, like you were saying, coming off a great high school career. So once you get into college, those guys had the same type of career, so they don't really care what you did. The coaches don't really care. So it's kind of like you got to establish yourself again. So I had to change my mindset, had to change my approach, and I had to grow. It was a tough growing pain, but once I settled down and got into emotion, I was cool.
Yeah, and I know it was times, because just picking back to my freshman year, I played, I started, I was all freshman. I still at times wanted to leave. So it's just times there, like it's a mental warfare. Like, this not for me, bro. I need to go somewhere else. He not letting me play my game. So, just again, like, I think it's dope that you were able to stick it out. And like you say, college teaches you another level of yourself. Like, you realize, like, we never established in this game. You got to establish yourself every week, every month, every season. Like, you just can't.
Every day.
Yeah,
like I had 9 seniors on my team coming in, so they would just at me every day, and I just had to be real with myself. And I think that's the best thing I ever did.
Oh man, that's a heavy sentence right there, being real with yourself, because it's so hard to do, but once you do it, it just takes you another level. You can actually get better from there.
Yeah.
Well, I've been throwing up some highlights. I don't know if you see them on the screen.
Yeah,
but I've been showing all kinds that penetration is just ridiculous. Like you're dipping all up and around and under and through people. That's pretty crazy.
You see on the highlights, he going left every time.
Hey man, whatever works.
Really
Whatever works. Man, I was left-handed. That's what helped me a bunch, man. You get there on the post, on the block, and nobody could handle a left-hander. They didn't know what to do. So you just drop step one time, and you got an easy put in every time.
I hate guarding left-handed people, left-handed guard. Even Corey to this day, like, I don't know what it is. You guys just know how to get back to your left hand. Even if you have it cut off, somehow you get back to your left hand.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. Speaking of college, we can't not talk college and not talk about some Ben college too. Now we got a little college. I hope it don't get too loud for y'all, but we found it, and we got to let
archives.
Yeah, we got to let this roll.
Just the game winner.
Yeah, this is it. Definitely didn't call back, boy.
That's big.
Golly, but I still get the same feeling every time I see this.
That's big, yeah.
See those stitches in my nose, though. My boy had bust my nose the day before, ran up under me, man. ESPN too got me looking bad.
Hey, but I'm gonna tell you, you were looking hard, brother. Now, when after you hit that shot, you were sitting there, do something, man.
Because I mean, in the back, of course, nobody knows this. It was a fan in this corner. I made a three, like we were down at the time, maybe like 10 or 11, and I made a three and I knocked down, and he just was talking so much trash to me. Get up, you fake Allen Iverson. You ain't Chris Paul, blah, 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 blah. Like best. So I said, so that's why I was saying, I told you, I was like, we'll see at the end. So when I made that shot, it looked like I'm just like happy and like going up, like I went there for a reason. Like I wanted to stand in front of him. And like I told you.
Now, Corey, talk about you. You know, when you finishing up in college, what was it looking like as far as the possibility of playing professionally? Did you feel like that was a definite, real thing, or was it something that you had to really work with to get into a situation?
Well, I knew I had the skill set and the resume to. So I know I had to network a little bit. I had to reach out to different agencies, and I had the opportunity in Armenian, and I took it.
That's awesome. And speaking of that, I don't have the picture here handy. I did at one point. You sat there and just went ahead and got you a championship when you were going overseas. Talk about competing for a championship overseas. What is that like?
I mean, it was pretty dope. I can't even like really put it in words, but just to have the country embrace you as their own, and you know, they're just behind you. They're all the chants. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's one of a kind, and it was truly fun. It was amazing.
And cause overseas is like people who don't play and get the experience that I don't think they really realize like what you go through there as well. Like Corey and I was talking earlier this week, we're used to being quarantined, like going to practice early at 7 or 8, and you're 6 hours ahead of everybody at home. So you come home and you're by yourself for the majority of the day, sitting at home, watching internet clips, not really watching cable, then going back to practice. So to go back to his championship. So those are the times like when you're playing, like when you come alive, like, all right, everybody yelling in the stands, like this is why I do it. Cause sometimes, like honestly, it's a mental warfare to be there alone every day. And especially if you're going through a rough slump, playing bad or your team losing, it's like, man, give me my ticket now. Like I'm ready to go home.
For sure.
So I can imagine like that's like him. I never won a professional championship. Yeah, I played in it, But when you win it, I can only, all right, this is what I'm here for. All right, these 8 months, 7 months, or 9, however I'm going, this was worth it. So that's, it's fulfilling.
And for it to come at the time that it did, for me losing in college, not winning in high school, it was just like my first year overseas, and it was amazing.
Oh, stamp. That's a feeling.
Well, we've been running a little highlight clips. I think it's funny that you're playing against Pulley. People who aren't from Dublin don't know why Pulley has any kind of meaning, but he's technically our all-time leading scorer, Campaldo. Where did he get Pulley from, by the way? Anybody got that story?
Oh no, I'm way older than him. I mean, that's my boy. That's my boy now. That's my boy. We trained together too for a while, but like that knitting, that's his generation there. I don't know. He just came to me. So
that's just it, because he's been Pulley the GOAT. He's been Pulley P. I mean, it's Pulley everything, and I ain't hating on it. I'm just asking because when you play, you get these names from somewhere, but anyhow, I think it's funny that we got people with all these names. Me and you were talking a little while about why people call you Smooth, but everybody gets a nickname if you're somebody. Now, Corey, obviously right now you're not where you want to be. Not that you don't enjoy Dublin, but you're home instead of playing ball or preparing to play ball. So what are some of the things that you're doing right now to try to keep your mental focus in place and keep yourself physically in a position to where if that call is made, you're ready to jump and go?
Well, like Ben said, being overseas, you're kind of used to times like this. So I'm really just sticking to my schedule, sticking to my routine. I'm just reading, meditating, just listening to music and working out when I can. It's not really too much different. It's just not having access to the gym as much.
Yeah, we still on that. We still trying to do. I help him out where I can. Get on. We try to do outside workouts. Push press, work our legs and stuff like that. Like I said, we can't really get in the gym right now. But for us, the physical, we doing what we can. Making a bit, like he said, being overseas, you find you resourceful, so you find out how to do what you can in different circumstances.
And before we wrap it up, what are y'all's thoughts about all these different leagues, and what would it take from you as Corey, you're still a professional player. Ben, you're a former professional player. What would it take from you as a person to feel comfortable going back out on the court and playing with folks again?
I'll answer that first. For me, I'm just kind of like I got a deep faith, So for me, once it's like said and done, or we'll fit, I guess officially cleared or whatever, that's probably all it would take for me, because at that point it is what it is. I'm not in control. If something was to happen, it's going to happen anyway. So, and my love for basketball, so as soon as if it was a tape that they broke, I'd be stepping past the tape the next day, ready to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about you, Corey? You about in the same boat?
I mean, you put it word for word. As soon as they make it official, we'll be ready.
Well, my hope is that you will receive some recognitions over time along with these championships. Our friend Ben got elected to the Jacksonville Hall of Fame not too long ago. Did you get a ring for that, Ben?
Yeah, I did. It's too big, but I don't wear it anyway. But I did get a ring.
Now, how big compared to your state championship ring?
Oh, I got 3 college rings. They so much. You could tell the budget was a lot different in college.
Yeah, you weren't having to do all that fundraising like you did in high school. Now, Corey, what's your long-term plans beyond basketball? What do you see yourself? Could you see yourself doing like Ben and stepping into a coaching role, or do you see yourself getting into some profession? What are you looking at?
I'm looking at all directions, like you said, with the coaching, but I also Because at school I study accounting, so maybe that'll be like a smooth job for me to take on. But I right now I really don't know. It's so far. Hopefully it's far.
Yeah,
Yeah, as
hopefully,
long
yeah.
as it needs to be. Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
because the thing is with when all my friends that have played professionally, I talked with my friend Ben Claxton that played at Ole Miss, played football with Eli Manning the other day, and the thing about it is only God knows when that time's going to be, and it's just being sure that you're in a place mentally, like you talked about with all the meditating and trying to read and all, have yourself in a place mentally to where, okay, well, God, if this is where I need to be next, I'm down with that. I'm good. And that's always my hope for any of y'all that, like I told Ben for years, I'm like, man, you need to coach. He'd be coming back from some weird part of Europe. Cause he played all over the place. That joker was different countries every year. And I kept saying, man, I hope you'll come back and coach. And outside of Miss Brenda, I don't know if there was anybody more happy than me when I found out he was coming back home to coach. Because Miss Brenda was excited now. She like, even though right now she can't talk loud like she used to, she still, like, you could tell, like, that joy was all over her face. But for me, watching him as a young man grow into a man and then step into his role like he has now, I'll be so excited if you do the same thing, Corey, whether that's basketball, accounting, or whatever. What would you want to tell all of Ben's players from this past year and all the kids at Dublin who might be looking at whether it's basketball, college, life? What would you tell them as advice that would help prepare them the best to be successful when they get older?
Well, I'm pretty sure the players are having they have a very good relationship with that coach Ben. I'm pretty sure he will lead them in the right direction because he's a very wise man. So as far as me, just enjoy life, you know what I'm saying? Make the right decision and attack it, you know what I'm saying? Find your purpose and just go at it.
Yeah, if I can just give Corey some credit, like that's one thing. Like I trained a lot of kids. I've been around a lot of people, even in like professions. I ain't gonna say kids, like my teammates in college. Like I think my battery just went dead.
We can still hear you. Yeah, we got you.
One thing Corey always did, like once he made up his mind, that's what he wanted to do, he attacked it. Like he didn't waver. He didn't you have to make certain sacrifices. Some things he gave up in order to be where he is now, and now he's reaping the benefits. So that's one thing, like for him, that was always different from the very start. Like I'm talking 15, 16, 17. And of course, as he got older, it got more intense and he did it even more. But it's like if I compare him to other 15, 16-year-olds, that would be the biggest difference. It wasn't like he wasn't trying to be cool. He wasn't trying to be a star. He just wanted to be great. And, and that just helped him get where he was today.
That's awesome. Well, Corey, we want to thank you again so much. We hate the circumstances are what they are, but we're making lemonade out of these lemons. And my hope is that celebrating you is going to inspire some other young people to go out there and be great. We want to thank you for taking this time and for also reminding folks just how excellent the people coming out of Dublin City Schools are. You're another reminder of the great people that we make every day. And my hope is that greatness is going to continue to be something that's global. By you playing overseas, you're taking Dublin global. And just thank you for taking this time, for joining us on this show. And we look forward to seeing great things out of you in the future.
All right, man. No problem, man. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, C.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you all so much. That's going to be it for this week. We're going to be back with more episodes as we find some of these people out and about. We'll be back with Irish from 3. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. The show's over. I'm just telling y'all thank you from my side. Thank you again. Y'all be safe. And Corey, if you want to know something crazy, me and Ben live 2 doors down from each other. So if you're ever on the phone with him and you hear a bunch of crazy children in the background, that's probably my kids making noise from the trampoline. So
I don't even think Corey been to my new house yet.
I haven't. Yeah.
Well, we got to get this quarantine over with. That way he can come over.
Thanks.
All right, y'all. We'll talk to
All
y'all
right, man,
later.
take it easy.
All right. Bye.